care who I hurt as long as people follow along.
Hey y'all, thanks for joining. So, Katie Joy Paulson says she has this lawsuit in the bag, y'all. She's winning this. I'm here to show you I don't think that's the case. So let's talk about it. Let's get right on into it, y'all.
I also pretend to be a journalist and an activist as well as a lawyer, a producer and a therapist. I am a complete ding-dong, ding-dong.
So as we all know, Katie Joy Paulson of Without a Crystal Ball has been sued by 7M Films, Robert Shin, Miranda, and James Derrick. Now, Katie Joy likes to tell her side of this lawsuit, and I'm here to tell you that half the time, well, all the time, everything Katie Joy has to say is either twisted, exaggerated, or she just leaves out very important parts of the lawsuit. But one thing Katie Joy has said several times throughout this whole litigation process is, we're winning, I'm winning, I won. But I'm here to show you that that has not happened. And each and every scenario that she says, I'm winning, I'm here to show you how she didn't. And so if this pattern holds true, then what she says here recently probably isn't going to stick either, y'all.
I've never lost a lawsuit, not once. And I haven't had anyone sue me since April of 2022. And that lawsuit's about to be disposed in November.
So after Katie brags about not being sued since April of 2022, she then continues to say that this lawsuit, and she is talking about this lawsuit with 7M, that's the only lawsuit she's currently in, she says it is going to be disposed of. And there'll be more about that later. But let's look at how this started, y'all. Let's look at when she was sued by 7M, Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick for defamation. This is what she had to say from the very beginning.
I won't be commenting further about this because honestly, it's baseless. So I just want to this is it. This is all I'm going to say. I'm done. The lawsuit is going to go nowhere. Anyone that claims it's a decent lawsuit knows nothing about the law.
In regards to this lawsuit, it's literally bogus. I mean, my legal team looked over it and we know that there's nothing to this and we're not worried one bit. They just want to silence us and stop the reporting.
So the lawsuit is going nowhere, and she has decided that it's just because they want to silence her. It has nothing to do with defamation. It has nothing to do with slander. It has to do with they want to silence her. Why would you go for the low guy on the totem pole? I don't know. When you can go after larger outlets, I don't know. But there is one thing for certain. Katie Joy filed a motion to dismiss, and then she was waiting. And in the meantime, she's making posts about it. And she posts this, letting everybody see what her motion to dismiss entailed. But she also went to the airways and had this to say.
The other lawsuit that we're in a part of right now, we filed a motion to dismiss and the judge has until the end of August to rule on that. And then they missed the discovery deadline. So we were required to serve one another our request for discovery on August 5th. And 7M has not served me a request. They missed the deadline, and unless they request a motion and the judge approves the motion, the judge rejected their request via letter for a continuance or for an extension, and absent a motion where they would have to file it and then it would have to be approved by the judge. At this point, the case is considered dead because they don't get discovery from us. And you need discovery to do a case.
So Katie Joy is passing this narrative that the case is dead because 7M missed a discovery deadline. And yes, 7M did miss a discovery deadline. Behind the scenes, 7M was reaching out to the court to see if they could get a change in the scheduling order, particularly in regards to discovery. Katie Joy, at this point, which she fails to mention, of course, is that she had not filed an answer in this case yet. Another really large problem was that 7M realized they could not provide certain things within discovery because Katie Joy Paulson would take that sensitive information and blast it all over the internet. So they were requesting a protective order for discovery in this case, meaning there would be a protective order on discovery where Katie Joy Paulson would not be able to see certain details, certain documents, etc., provided in discovery. But when the judge stated, I need you to put that in a motion, this letter isn't enough for us to make a change to the scheduling order, Katie somehow took that as a win, y'all. And the judge was saying that you cannot change the scheduling order, therefore Katie Paulson wins. That's not how that went down. Imagine that. Katie Joy included in that post that a judicial determination in a lawsuit filed against WOACB by Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick has not gone in their favor. I don't know what didn't go in their favor, but they were simply waiting to hear back from the courts, mainly regarding a protective order for discovery. Because, and I quote, 7M's attorney had this to say to Katie Joy's legal team. Your client has a history of doxing people on the internet, displaying documents obtained during the discovery process on her social media handles, and misconstruing the contents of documents she posts. The entire case is based on your client's egregious behavior. As such, I'll request that your client not be allowed to post medical records, leases, and sensitive financial documents on the internet. In your request, you ask for highly sensitive information no reasonable person would want shared with a stranger, let alone the entire internet. 7M made it very clear that they were willing to comply with discovery once they came to an agreement regarding what information Katie Joy Paulson would not be able to see during discovery. So what comes of this is that 7M files 4 motions. One, of course, being a motion for protective order on discovery. They also filed a motion for injunctive relief, asking that Katie Joy Paulson have to shut her mouth during litigation. They also filed, of course, a motion for a change in scheduling order. They also filed a motion for a default judgment because Katie had not yet filed an answer in this case, but as we know, that obviously was not granted. Katie Joy Paulson filed her own motion. She filed a motion to compel, stating that 7M was not complying with discovery. And then there was a ruling on Katie Joy Paulson's motion to dismiss this case, and y'all, it was denied. So, another thing, when Katie said, this case is dead, this isn't going to go anywhere, this will be dismissed, wrong again, Katie Joy Paulson. Your motion to dismiss was denied. Clearly, the judge felt there was enough within this complaint to move forward. But of course, Katie Joy Paulson did not share this information on her social media at all. So the next thing that happens is a hearing was scheduled for November to hear all the motions that were filed. And then Katie Joy Paulson, once she knew this was not going to end, she went ahead and filed her answer the very end of October. And it was a long wait, y'all. But in February, the judge ruled on all the motions. Katie Joy's motion to compel was denied. It was denied because it was premature. Why? Because there were still issues with discovery, and now there was a protective order on discovery. And that is because the judge granted 7M's motion for protective order for discovery. She granted it in part, which would prohibit Katie and both parties actually to be able to view certain information provided through discovery that was deemed highly confidential. That would be for attorneys' eyes only. Of course, Katie Joy does not mention this at all anywhere on her social media, that the judge granted a protective order in this case, which shows that 7M was able to prove that Katie Joy Paulson is irresponsible and dangerous and is willing to put out anybody's information and blast it all over social media. She also fails to mention, of course, that the judge denied her motion to compel. But what she does go on and on and on about is that the judge denied 7M's motion for injunctive relief. Now, Katie Joy, well, let's just hear what Katie Joy has to say about her interpretation of what the judge said regarding this motion for injunctive relief.
But one thing that we've been trying to prove to the court in all of these, because there's been a series of them, is that I'm a journalist and I should qualify what's called journalistic privilege in the state of Minnesota. And yesterday, a judge actually said that I was. So they said defendants are plausibly a journalistic outlet which enjoys a qualified privilege against defamation claims, basically meaning like I'm doing a job and I have a privilege to do my job. And you can't just sue me because I've done my job.
So Katie takes it as the judge saying, you are, in fact, a journalist, Katie Joy Paulson of Without a Crystal Ball. I guess the word plausible didn't even register with her, but she takes it as a win. And so here we go. Here's a post. Katie Joy is going to let everyone know on social media how wonderful she's doing in this lawsuit, and sandwich strikes again. She says, big news for those who have been following my coverage of 7M and Shekinah Church. Robert Shin attempted to silence me through a temporary injunction, which would have barred me from speaking on the topic. However, a judge in Minnesota ruled in my favor, denying his temporary injunction, citing his request being a deviation from public policy. The Minnesota judge also ruled that Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick, along with the companies, are all public figures. That is not true. That was not stated that Robert Shin was a public figure. He's plausibly a public figure. She does then mention that the court also denied their motion for a default judgment, but of course she fails to mention that they did grant the motion for a protective order for discovery because Katie Joy is irresponsible, unprofessional, dangerous, and not a reporter. Katie Joy has been telling this court that she is in fact a journalist. When it came to discovery, she said, and she has to let everybody know privilege, again, I will not be providing this she is or answering this, and that her sources are confidential and privileged. This judge had to assume that Katie Joy Paulson of Without a Crystal Ball was not get plausibly a journalist within a journalistic outlet. A judge is not going to take away somebody's free speech this easily. But for Katie Joy to interpret it the way that she did is just insane, y'all. It just goes to show the way that she thinks.
I have full permission from my legal team to report because that's what my job is. And as a reporter, the judge said that I would not be silenced. Okay.
So now that Katie Joy is bragging about this win from the courts, that she is a journalist and that the judge said she is a journalist with journalistic privilege, she just continues to go on. And as before, she's going to take to social media and she is going to let everybody know again that she is winning. And now she is seeking sanctions for attorney's fees by 7M because there was a cross complaint filed in LA against Robert Shin, and Katie Joy is saying that this vindicates her and this proves that everything she has said is true. She states that if this case were filed in a jurisdiction with an anti-SLAPP statute, it would be dismissed and your client would likely be ordered to pay Miss Paulson's attorney's fees. Need I remind you, the judge did look over this case, and Katie, your motion to dismiss was denied. I'm sorry you don't live in a state where they have anti-SLAPP, but you were allowed to file a motion to dismiss, and it was denied. She then demands that they dismiss their case, which I am pretty sure was just laughed at and filed into the, yeah, I don't think so category. And they moved right on along because, as we know, this was not a win for Katie. And they did not dismiss this. They did not just throw the case away. And they absolutely did not pay her attorney's fees. She did her best to convince people on her social media that, if she lived in California, that this would have already been dismissed and it would have gone away because Minnesota is not an anti-SLAPP state. Sucks to be you, Katie Joy. Move to California, harass people there, and maybe you'll get away with it. But Katie Joy also has to state, if Shin fails to file a motion to dismiss, we will file a motion for sanctions against him and demand attorney's fees once the lawsuit is resolved in our favor. There is absolutely no way we can lose at this point. Robert Shin hates spending money, so we will see what he decides. I'm pretty sure we know what he decided, and it was not to follow your demands. So Katie was sued in April of 2022, and since then, since the very beginning, everything regarding discovery was extremely contentious. In February of 2023 is when the judge ruled on those 5 motions, and when Katie determined that she was actually, in fact, deemed a journalist by the court. Come March 2023, there was notice given that there is a change of judge. So now there is a new judge on this case, and a hearing was set for the parties to meet in May to make sure they were on the same page so they could move forward. And I'm sure you guessed it, that coming out of that hearing, Katie Joy Paulson has to run straight to social media and let everybody know that she is winning. But it's not a win, y'all. Not even close. Basically, the judge granted a hearing for motion to compel, as Katie Joy was saying that they aren't complying with discovery, but 7M also was wanting a hearing for motion to compel, as they were going to file their own motion to compel because, as they state, Katie Joy Paulson is not complying with discovery. So she's saying that it was a big win because the judge granted them a hearing, a motion to compel hearing in August. Y'all, she got what she wanted. She also said it was another huge win because the judge said no more Zoom hearings due to some disruption that happened in a previous Zoom hearing by some creators on YouTube. And that is actually a big win for both parties. But the funny thing is it was 7M's attorney that requested no more Zoom hearings, and the judge agreed to that. It wasn't anything that Katie Joy and her team asked for. So, of course, Katie Joy had to make it seem like it was all about her, and y'all, we just keep winning. But there was nothing about this that was winning, and nothing prior to that she was winning or had won, because the case is still going on, and none of the rulings have really gone in her favor. So there was supposed to be that motion to compel hearing in August, but due to disagreements and all kinds of other things surrounding discovery, that hearing was not held until November of 2023. Both parties filed a motion to compel, and in January of 2024, the judge made a ruling on those motions. And guess what, y'all? No, Katie did not win. This was not winning for Katie Joy Paulson. Her motion to compel was mostly denied, and 7M's motion to compel was granted fully. Because guess what, y'all? Well, here's what the judge had to say. It states within the order that the issue of whether or not Miss Paulson is a journalist has not yet been presented to or decided by this court. Therefore, Katie Joy Paulson was ordered to comply to all demands of discovery. Her excuse of, I will not provide this, I will not answer this, due to journalistic privilege, was denied. The judge said, you will be answering it. You are ordered to answer it. That's not a win. That is not a win. So Katie Joy Paulson certainly did not mention this at all on social media. This never came out of her mouth. She just acted like it didn't happen. And a new deadline for discovery was set, which she was ordered to abide by. And there was also a deadline set for depositions. That certainly is a far cry from how Katie Joy interpreted the order from February of 2023.
Recently, a judge in Minnesota ruled that 1, Robert was a public figure, 2, I am a journalist and I have a right to report on matters of public interest, and that I have journalistic privilege, which means that Robert can't use a lawsuit to try to glean my sources from, and I don't have to give up my sources in discovery because I'm a journalist and he can't sue me for that.
So after this not so big win that Katie Joy chose not to share with everybody on social media, a few months later, Dancing for the Devil, the TikTok cult, that docuseries was released. And Katie Joy Paulson then completely switched her tune and was posting about 7M, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick relentlessly. Miranda Derrick became a huge target for Katie Joy Paulson, even though she is the one that has labeled Miranda Derrick a victim of this quote-unquote cult. Katie Joy made several posts and several videos regarding the docuseries, stating that it will vindicate her and it will prove that this lawsuit is nonsense and it will be dismissed. In the meantime, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, Katie Joy makes this post regarding Robert Shin. She says, "We keep winning. Robert Shin deposed, unable to prove damages, and admitted no defamation occurred." She says Robert admitted there was no defamation by the reporter. Not a good day for Robert Shin. Okay, Katie, whatever. And then she makes this post as well. So now she's talking about the depositions of Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick. And she states that because these depositions went so poorly, the judge granted her a motion for a summary judgment, and there's a hearing all because of her scheduled November 25th of 2024. But let's hear Katie's own words and what she has to say about all of their depositions. And she was saying this while she was on TikTok.
For this case, that the testimony provided by Robert, Miranda, and James all proved that there was no grounds for the case, that none of the claims that remain in the lawsuit can be proven. And so we have been given a motion and granted a hearing for a summary judgment in November. So in November, we will be presenting to the court all of the evidence that we have obtained through discovery and through the deposition process, and seeking to have the case fully disposed of and removed and dismissed once and for all.
So she's telling everybody that this case is going to be done in November. It's going to be removed. It's going to be dismissed. All the good stuff. Because she was granted a hearing for a summary judgment. Now keep in mind, 7M also requested a hearing for summary judgment. And just because there's a hearing does not mean she has won this case. It does not mean that depositions did not go well. I honestly don't think she even understands how depositions are supposed to go. But let's finish listening to what she had to say on TikTok and how rude she is to people, as always.
We do not expect the case will ever go to trial, and we fully believe that if they had evidence that would have shown any damages, they would have provided it, but they didn't. They didn't provide us any evidence of damages.
But of course, Katie Joy is not telling the truth, because within the lawsuit, there is plenty of evidence that 7M has provided that shows the loss of contracts and sponsorships for Miranda and James Derrick. And this ultimately affects Robert Shin and 7M Films. This is just a few examples, y'all, that are straight from the lawsuit. Katie Joy can never tell the truth.
So it's been a really long road for us. We still have a couple more months where my team needs to put together the full disclosure to the court of why this case needs to be dismissed and why they have not proven their case. And we still have some details that need to get put together. And all of that will be provided to the court 28 days before the hearing on November 25th. There's, and the little faces, there's a mess down. Yeah. Okay, you guys are redonk. They're talking about the faces and the colors. There's no faces in the colors. They're just seeing shadows. Okay. So, I think it's kind of rude to focus on something like that, frankly, when I'm talking about something important. And there. How about nothing? There's no background. You can have a black screen now.
Here's the truth, y'all. Nobody cares about her lawsuit with 7M. Nobody is there to listen to her rant and rave about her lawsuit with 7M, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick. They just aren't. They're there for other content. She went over to TikTok to talk about Gypsy Rose. She started out with a pretty big audience, and it dwindled, not only because she blocked half of TikTok, but because people realized how nasty and mean she truly is. And I'm sure now nobody is surprised at all that she is being sued and that she has been sued numerous times for defamation. Katie Joy keeps saying that this lawsuit is going nowhere. She said that from the day she was sued. Then she said that when they missed discovery deadline. And then she said that when she was granted one hearing, and now she's saying it again when she thinks she's granted another hearing. She has not won anything in this lawsuit, y'all. And I am pretty damn sure that that is a very good signal and forecast for how this lawsuit is really going to turn out.
We have asked them more than once to dismiss their case and withdraw their case because they have no grounds. They have fought that over and over and over again, and we will fully be vindicated when the summary judgment that we file in November is approved by the court. Miranda James and Robert Shin's testimony in their depositions was disastrous. Disastrous. Any further accusation that 7M is going to take me down, destroy me, or that I'm going to lose is completely false. And we will not be settling. We will be seeking the summary judgment. Okay.
One thing we do know is that Katie Joy feels that being sued is a badge of honor. And we also know that no matter what lawsuit she is in, she is going to give everybody the idea that she is winning, that she is on top of this, and that she does not lose her lawsuits. I have a feeling, y'all, obviously, there is going to become that day where she does lose. Is it going to be this one? Is it going to be the next one? Is it going to be the one after that? Listen, y'all, there's one thing for sure. Katie Joy, this will not be her last lawsuit. Because, well, history repeats itself, y'all, and Katie Joy cannot keep her mouth shut, and she does not care who she hurts in the process. And because history repeats itself, that's what I'm hoping here, is that every time Katie Joy thought she won, she didn't. And this isn't even the big part of it, y'all. So, I have a feeling she's completely wrong about this. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I'll keep you updated on what's happening with this summary judgment or anything else that might come up in this case. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching, y'all.
I lie just to lie because the truth means nothing to me. I will destroy you and your entire family. Your pain gives me joy and your hurt makes me smirk. I will put out all of our private discussions, and I don't care about the repercussions because rules don't apply to me.